Science fiction, double feature. Dr. X will build a creature. See androids fighting Brad and Janet. And Francis stars in Forbidden Planet. Oh, oh, at the late night double feature picture show.
Very nice job there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Danny and Courtney Talk About. I'm Danny, as always, and with me, as always, that's quite redundant, is.
Courtney, also known as Animation Enthusiast.
Yes, I'm so glad you could join me. Now, if you couldn't guess by that introduction we had there, today we are reviewing a very popular film from the 70s that is one of our favorite movies of all time. That movie is none other than the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I know who's really excited to talk about it.
Me!
So let's get right on it. Go ahead and tell us what it's about.
Based off of the hit Broadway musical, the Rocky Horror Picture Show tells the story of a newly engaged couple and their strange encounters involving some transsexual Transylvanians. The couple, Brad and Janet, are out visiting their old tutor when suddenly their car gets a flat tire in the rain. They enter a castle owned by the mad scientist slash crossdresser, Dr. Frankenfurter, to ask for help. But in the process, they get involved in the doctor's crazy plans, which involves dance parties, creating a handsome Frankenstein monster named Rocky Horror, murder, sex, gross dinner parties, and a crazy show number to top it all off. Will Brad and Janet get out of it in one piece? See this movie to find out.
Yep, that's a good way of putting it. I guess I can say right off the bat, one thing about this movie that I like is that it has a very simple premise. But yeah, since this is actually, it's let's not dwell any further. This is your favorite movie of all time, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love everything about it. The songs, the characters, how it's not really a movie you would normally see because how bizarre it is.
Anything else you'd like to add? Because I know how much you love this movie.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell, really. Like the basic things that I really enjoy about this movie.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I think this movie's very good too. It is very weird, though. That's one thing I have to say. This is a really weird movie.
Hmm.
It is bizarre and it might leave you confused the first time watching it, but on the whole, it is a lot of fun. The premise is simple enough to follow. The characters are very memorable, and those songs are just so good.
I know. Oh my God. I want to own the soundtrack. That's so good.
You don't have the soundtrack already?
No, I don't, unfortunately.
Well, it's one thing you can ask for your birthday or for
Mm.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good movie too, despite its weirdness. So I guess we can talk about like one of the important aspects of the movie, the characters. Now, there are a lot of bizarre characters in this movie. Which one stole the show for you?
The short-lived character named Eddie. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah, I liked him too. He had that crazy musical number. How did it go? Let me look up the
I'm just
title.
a city in the rock and roll. If it's something like that.
I think it went, Hoot Hot Patootie, bless my soul. Something with the rock and roll. Yes. Fun fact, he's played by Meatloaf, who will do anything for love, but not that.
Yep.
For me, the one who stole the show for me was definitely Dr. Frankenfurter, played by the ever-talented Tim Curry. And I know it's strange I'm saying that because he is the villain of this movie. He does a lot of terrible things, like plays God, he creates a sex slave, he rapes people, he murders people, he does gross things, and yet he's the most fun character in the. Oh, I think he's like the most fun character in the movie. Um, yeah, especially like in his big opening number, like "Sweet Transvestite."
Yeah, oh my god, he is just an awesome character all around. He's just so fun to watch on screen.
Don't get strung out by the way I look. Don't judge a book by its cover. I'm not much of a man by the light of day, but by night I'm one hell of a lover. I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania.
And here's a fun fact: Tim Curry actually he originally played Frankenfurter in the original Broadway production when this came out in the 70s.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and Meatloaf, who we just mentioned, was also in the original Broadway cast too. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. Mhm.
Yep. So yeah, and of course I thought the other characters were good too. I liked Riff Raff and Columbia and Magenta a lot. They were
Yeah.
bizarre, but they were fun.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun to see.
Yep. Um, I especially like how Riff Raff's like he talks in a very unusual kind of spooky voice, but when he sings, it goes all rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh, his voice changes all of a sudden. Like, wow.
yeah. But speaking of which, this is very noticeable in a song. Let's talk about the songs. What's your favorite song in this movie?
Let's do the time warp again.
It's just a jump to the left
And then step to the right.
with your hands on your hips.
I forget how the rest
And
of
then
the
the,
song
and then your
goes.
knees in time. And then the pelvic
Pelvic
thrust. It
thrust.
really drives
And
you
it goes
insane.
insane.
Yeah. If you couldn't guess, that's my favorite song too. That's
No.
such a oh gosh, that's like definitely like the biggest song in the movie. It's just so catchy and it's even got a dance to it.
I know. It's awesome. And like even the criminologist, he gets into it.
Yes, I like that he like for those who don't know, the criminologist is like the narrator of the movie. He comes in every once in a while to fill us in. And I love it when like characters like that just jump in like join like the action. Well, he doesn't really join in the action, but he does take like dance along with the song. That was fun to
Yeah,
watch.
that was a lot of fun to watch.
But yeah, let's continue on this subject. Do you have a second favorite song?
Okay, so not including Eddie's song, I think it would have to be the song where they're like another song pertaining to Eddie, but instead it's about how Dr. Scott was talking about him and stuff and the
I
dinner
remember,
party song.
yeah, I remember that song. If I had to pick a second favorite, it'd probably be "Sweet Transvestite," which is Tim Curry's big opening number. Oh, well, not really opening, but it's his big appearance, and that also is very catchy and fun to sing along to, even if the
Yeah.
subject matter is kind of inappropriate.
Right, but it's still a great song.
Yes. Of course, it's not as inappropriate as a later song, "Touch It, Touch It, Touch It, Touch Me."
Oh god, that was
We'll get into that stuff in a little bit. Actually, no, we'll get into it now. This movie, unlike the other movies we've talked about so far, this is R-rated. If you are a child, don't see this yet. Wait until you're older, because there's a lot of naughty things in this movie.
Yeah, we'll just say that. So,
But you can listen to m- most of the songs. Most of them are pretty harmless.
that
Most
is
of them.
true. Yeah, most of them.
Now let's talk about some trivia about this movie. Do you know anything interesting about this movie?
Well, when it was originally released, it was ignored, but it did get noticed as a midnight movie, and basically what that is the audience would participate during the film. Like they would either talk to the screen or they would dress as the characters from the movie.
Or they would also throw things in the movie theater. Like during the opening wedding scene, like you'd throw rice. Or during the scene when Dr. Frankenfurter reveals Rocky Horror for the first time, people would play noisemakers and blow horns and stuff. Yes, yeah. It started off as a midnight release originally because, well, especially for the time period this came out, this was very, as I mentioned, really bizarre. Like if this
Mhm.
got a normal mainstream release, it probably wouldn't have been as well received as it is now. I think this wouldn't really be continued until years later when they did Heavy Metal, that animated adult movie.
Right.
What else is interesting about this movie?
It actually gained a large cult following in addition to it becoming a midnight movie, really. It's actually one of the most well-known and financially successful midnight movies of all time.
Actually, this does lead me to a question. Have you ever attended one of the midnight screenings of this? I feel like
Um,
I think they do this like every year, like at certain movie theaters.
yeah, because I know, I mean, I've never been to one of the screenings. Like, actually, I discovered the movie through, like, my friend's mom, and then we watched it briefly, and then I decided to rent it on my own and watch it, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did that too. I think maybe when I was younger and I was in like a musical phase. I still am kind of. A part of me wishes I could see this on Broadway or on stage. I wonder what that would be like. Actually,
I think that would be interesting, actually.
yeah. Actually, I think there is one thing I learned. Apparently, in the stage productions, there's like a nurse character who helps you go through like the show and tells you what to do. But I think in the movie they replace her with those red lips that sing the opening number.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is a little fun fact right there.
Let's see. Oh, here's another bit of trivia. This movie is actually what helped make actors like Tim Curry and Susan Sarandon and Barry Bostwick well-known movie actors. This was like their big like debut, like in film, and ever since they've been became more popular. I think Susan Sarandon eventually went on to win an Oscar.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Is there anything else worth mentioning? I'm just sorry if I seem so like lost for words. This is just there is really nothing like this movie. It's so bizarre, but it's so fun at the same time. I wonder
I
is there
know. It's like it stands out so much. It just blows your mind. Like you'd have to see it to really believe it.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I guess we can say it certainly had an influence on later like musical theater and film. I think ever since this movie came out, there's been a lot of other bizarre, dark yet crazy musicals.
Yes.
I think Repo the Genetic Opera is one example of a musical inspired by the tone in this film,
Mhm.
except that one is much more gory and violent.
Mhm.
But yeah, I guess we can give our final thoughts. What do you, go on, Courtney. Tell us everything you want to say about this.
Okay, so overall, I give it a thumbs up. I recommend it, but at the same time, you have to really be in the good mindset to watch this movie because of how bizarre it is.
Yes, and of course you have to be old enough, as we mentioned.
Right.
This is not a children's film at all, especially when there's well, you know. Um, I give this movie a thumbs up too. I think it's very enjoyable. It's really weird and bizarre, but I guess that's kind of part of the fun of it. So yeah, if you are in the mood for musical theater and you want to see something different from like a Rodgers and Hammerstein or a Stephen Sondheim or an Andrew Lloyd Webber thing, check this movie out. Or if you're lucky enough, go see it at a midnight screening. Or if you're even luckier and it's playing at a theater near you, go see it on stage.
Yes, go see this.
So anyway, that was our discussion on the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Danny here saying, I'm awesome, so are you. Courtney's especially awesome, and I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. Okay, not really.
And this is Courtney signing out.
Wait a minute, you forgot to say, and you're awesome too, Danny.
Oh, yeah, and you're awesome too, Danny.
Thank you, Courtney. Yeah, we just lampshaded ourselves. Anyway, see you around, guys. Enjoy some time warp.
Let's do the time warp again. Okay, I'll stop now.
Okay.
I remember doing the time warp, drinking those moments when the black pit would hit me and the boys would be calling. Let's do the time warp again. Let's do the time warp again. It's just a jump to the left. With your hands on your hips.